This is David Russell, Global Head of Market Strategy for TradeStation. And today we'll look at major events for investors and traders. Big growth stocks are continuing their rebound as fears dissolve and investors put money to work before the year ends. The S&P 500 rose 1.3% between Friday, November 3rd and Friday, November 10th. The index was little changed for most of the week, before clawing above October's peak on Friday afternoon. Technology stocks like Microsoft, Nvidia, and Broadcom power the gains. The Nasdaq 100 closed at its highest level since August 1st. No single event triggered the move. Instead, a series of negatives continued to lift. For example, interest rates remained subdued as oil prices hit their lowest level in almost 3 months. The move in stocks followed a sharp rally to begin November, as sentiment swung from extreme pessimism to relief. The weekly survey by the American Association of Individual Investors saw the biggest increase in bullish responses in 13 years, rising 18 percentage points. The proportion of bears fell by 23 points, the biggest drop in over 20 years. Investors are reacting to lower inflationary pressures and easing geopolitical risks. Crude oil futures hit a 3-month low, and Federal Reserve officials kept their softer tone on monetary policy. Presidents Biden and Xi also agreed to meet this coming Wednesday at APEC, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. That calmed fears about trade disputes hurting tech stocks. An even bigger event may come tomorrow, when the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases October's Consumer Price Index, or CPI. Economists forecast an increase of just 0.1% from September. It would be one of the smallest changes since inflation accelerated in early 2021. Microsoft also holds its Ignite conference on artificial intelligence. Investors could additionally focus on housing data later in the week, after mortgage rates had their biggest drop in a year. Semiconductors were the biggest gainers last week, as enthusiasm about artificial intelligence continued. Nvidia announced new products for the Chinese market, while Advanced Micro Devices kept its positive momentum from the previous week. Software companies like Microsoft, Adobe, and Palantir also climbed. Energy was the worst performing sector, as investors dismissed fears of supply shocks. Oil inventories also increased as economic growth shows signs of weakening. Safe havens like utilities, healthcare, and precious metals lost value. That may suggest there's little risk aversion. TransDigm, a supplier of aerospace components, and real estate investment trust Extra Space Storage were the biggest individual gainers in the S&P 500 last week. Both reported strong quarterly results. Illumina and Warner Brothers Discover led to the downside after announcing weak numbers. And now let's chart the market. The S&P 500 had some potentially important technical achievements last week. First, it closed above its 50 and 100-day moving averages for the first time in over a month. That may suggest it's getting more bullish over the intermediate term. Second, it pushed above a bearish gap after a hawkish Fed meeting on September 20th. That zone was resistance last month, so breaking it this month may suggest the bulls are taking charge. Third, the index remained above its August 2022 peak of 43.25. That level was important support earlier in the year, and reclaiming it now may be a positive longer-term signal. Traders may next eye a falling trend line along the peaks of July and August. We now turn to the coming week, which brings inflation data, retail news, and housing numbers. Nothing important is scheduled for today. The CPI report is at 8:30 Eastern Time tomorrow morning. Home Depot also releases quarterly results, and Microsoft's AI conference begins. Wednesday features retail sales, the Producer Price Index, and crude oil inventories. Earnings are due from Target, TJX, Cisco Systems, and Palo Alto Networks. Thursday brings initial jobless claims and the Homebuilder Sentiment Index. Walmart, Alibaba, Applied Materials, and Gap issue results. The week concludes with housing starts and building permits on Friday morning. Thanks for watching. Please visit tradestation.com for more.